Florida Marlins. We are now leaving the West Coast. A nice road trip, and now on approach to South Florida. Bring your tray tables and seats to an upright position. Cross-check complete. Uh-oh. Upon arrival, the doctor will see you now. All he did on his last trip here was throw a perfect game. So he's got that going for him, which was nice. The Marlins have Sean West going for them. The tall Louisiana lefty gets back to the big leagues in a big spot. Marlins, Phillies, thank you for flying Fox Sports Florida. This is definitely not the West Coast. This is the East Coast, and the Marlins are back home and ready to go. A very important homestand starts tonight, 3 with the fighting Phils. The Marlins and the Phillies open up this homestand, open up a 3-game series. The Phillies have lost a few. The Marlins playing well right now. Can the Fish keep the momentum going? Can they get a good start out of a youngster just up from AAA? Oh, yeah, he's going against that guy, Mr. Perfecto, Roy Halladay. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. The Marlins and the Phillies. Tommy, the Phillies on the road have struggled lately, and the Marlins have played so well since the All-Star break. And the teams that the Marlins have beaten, quality teams, Rockies, Braves, split with the Giants, beat the Padres. And now here come the Phillies, and here come the Cardinals.
I think the Marlins have to continue their trend of beating the teams that are ahead of them, and especially in this series, it's a team that's in your own division. They did well on the West Coast against the Giants and the Padres. There's a good series here, but the Marlins have to continue winning series.
They've got to change their trend against Roy Halladay because they're trending downward against this guy. And it wasn't just the perfect game. He's pitched well against him in all 3 starts.
He's had 3 starts against the Marlins this year. He's gone 8 innings twice and then the perfect game. How about this against the league in his last 22 starts? 17 of those he's walked 1 or less. He throws strikes. I think sometimes as a hitter, you have to be aggressive because maybe the first pitch is going to be the best pitch you're going to see against the guy they call the Doc.
And the Doc certainly was operating. Ronnie Paulino's ground ball was the final out of the 20th perfect game in Major League history. And this is the last time he stepped on this mound was that night. When the Marlins penciled Sean West in for a start, your immediate reaction is that's good because the Phillies have a lot of lefties. Well, there's a couple lefties that are not in the lineup. They're injured, Chase Utley and Ryan Howard. But Sean West gets the start tonight. He's pitched well in AAA. It'll be interesting to see how he reacts.
We didn't have to do research to figure out that this is the first time the Marlins have ever played the Phillies, and we haven't seen Victorino, Utley, and Howard in the lineup. Sean West is coming off a complete game shutout, his last game pitched in AAA. He faced the Phillies last year. He needs to have command of the changeup and the breaking ball. He needs to keep a good pace out there on the mound, not think about too much things. Just throw strikes. Don't worry about the guy you're going up against. You're only going to have to face him a few times. So Sean West and Roy Halladay, we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. It's only a Cy Young winner. It's only Roy Halladay, and he's back at the scene of the crime tonight as the Marlins and the Phillies get ready to go. Inside the Marlins, Andre Dawson, a sneak peek when we return. An inside look at the Hawks' trip to Cooperstown. and the Phils. Hey, it's an email Tuesday as well. We start things tonight out in left field. Allison Williams, Jeff Conine. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Rich. Good to be here next to Niner, who's one of the Marlins' special assistants to the president, a title he shares with Andre Dawson, one of the most recent inductees into the Baseball Hall of Fame. And Niner, I think you would agree this was an honor that's not only deserved, but perhaps a bit overdue.
Definitely overdue. You know, he had numbers going in when he retired, and you get that 5 years of retirement that you become eligible for Cooperstown, and just a consummate professional. I got to play with Hawk in his last season here with the Marlins. Got to see his 400th home run and watch the way he went out his business and played the game. And congratulations to the Hawk, and very well deserved.
Spent the majority of his years with the Expos, also played for the Cubs, the Red Sox, of course, finishing here in South Florida, where he is from. And our own Frank Fort was in Cooperstown as the Hawk landed in the Hall of Fame.
On this edition of Inside the Marlins, we look at the distinguished career of Andre Dawson, a Miami native who spent 21 seasons in the major leagues.
You know, he showed up every day ready to play. And I just remember what kind of a great teammate he was. He was a quiet leader, but yet, a confident one.
He could do so many things to determine the outcome of a game. And when the team really needed a lift, Andre Dawson had that knack of giving them a lift with one thing or another.
Dawson works as a special assistant for the Marlins, lending his experience and expertise to young players.
He doesn't say much, but when he talks, it's impactful. He's around the guys every day, and he really does make a big difference.
In January of 2010, after a 9-year wait, Dawson was finally elected to baseball's Hall of Fame.
This probably brings, again, my career full circle, and validates, as you said, a lot of things that a lot of people have had to say over the years.
We'll follow Andre on his journey to Cooperstown as he is inducted and officially joins baseball's all-time greats.
I can't thank you enough for how good you were to my family and me. You were the wind beneath the Hawks' wings.
That's all next on Inside the Marlins.
So great to see the Hawk inducted into the Hall of Fame, and you can catch the Inside the Marlins in its entirety. It will debut this Friday after that St. Louis game, 10:30, and then there are 4 more airings to follow. Definitely one you want to watch, a guy that certainly played for the love of the game. And what's not to love about this game? It's Marlins, Phillies, Rich, Tommy coming up next. It's the first pitch here on Fox.
Sean West delivers to Jimmy Rollins. There's a strike, and we're underway. The Marlins and the Phillies ready to go, opening up this 3-game series. Sean West returns to the big leagues, where he pitched a lot last year. Rollins takes down low, and the count is 2-1. Jimmy Rollins, Raul Ibanez, and Placido Polanco.
Yeah, I think the good part of it is that Sean West had big league experience last year. I mean, you think about it, Sean went 8-6 in 20 starts, went 6 or more innings 8 times.
Remember, he beat Randy Johnson. He had a start against the Yankees, so he had a taste of what it's all about. Rollins fouls it off. This Phillies lineup, as we talked about from the outset, is a lineup without a lot of firepower for this series. Ryan Howard just rolled his ankle. He's going to be on the 15-day disabled list, has been placed there just a few hours ago. Shane Victorino is out with an oblique strain. Chase Utley is still out with a thumb injury. But they still have one of the best rotations in all of baseball, and Roy Halladay is on the mound tonight. West to Rollins. A liner over the head of Hector Luna, and down the line it goes. Morrison picks it out of the corner, and Rollins trots into second with a leadoff double. All right, here's the Phillies lineup. There's still some dangerous bats in there. Ibanez in the 2 spot. Placido Polanco will hit 3rd. Jason Worth in the cleanup spot. Ben Francisco's in right. Carlos Ruiz has been promoted up to the 6th spot. Cody Ransom hits 7th. Wilson Valdez 8th. And Roy Halladay hits 9th.
Well, you're right about the dangerous bats. You forget about it. And certainly we saw it with Jimmy Rollins leading off with a double. Ibanez always a tough out. Polanco. Jason Worth has 36 doubles.
And here is Ibanez. He tweaked a wrist the other day, making a diving catch. And many thought he might be out for a while, but Ibanez is healthy and in the lineup tonight. It's a veteran team. And Ibanez, one of the oldest of the Phillies. He's 38. West misses outside. It counts 2-0. Marlins just went through the cycle of Ricky Nolasco and Josh Johnson, actually twice on the road trip, with JJ pitching on Sunday, Ricky pitching on Saturday, and they will not pitch in this series. Ibanez pulling that one to the right side, but pulls it foul.
Well, a lot of the heads got together to decide what to do after the off day, to stick with the 4-man rotation, or against Charlie Manuel's Phillies, bring up Sean West. And I think with the last 2 starts of Josh Johnson, I think with Anibal Sanchez throwing a complete game, the wise choice, give those guys an extra day off.
Ibanez pops it down in foul territory. Gabby gets to the wall. It almost looked like Gabby ran through the wall there for a second.
No, that's Mike Stanton's job.
And the count's 2-2. Watch Gabby. He found the little cutout, and he went around the
right in where the door is.
Yeah, around the corner.
Really familiar with his home ballpark. That's good to see.
Let's see if West can get Ibanez. Rollins is at second. We're just underway. And he gets it. A good, sharp breaking ball. TGI Fridays brings you the defense tonight for the Fish.
All right, let's check it out. How about Logan Morrison making his first start here at home? Cody and Mike Stanton in the outfield. Hector Luna getting some action. First activity for Luna since being called up. The infield setting up the same. Ronnie Paulino said he's going to try to keep the pace for Sean West and not have him waste too much time out there on the mound.
Placido Polanco having a solid season. And he drills one to left. Morrison is over, reaches, and makes the catch. A snow cone job that he kept off the turf. Rollins is back to second base.
Oh, my. I think the scary part was after he got the snow cone catch, when he raised the glove up to say, hey, I got it.
Oh, wow.
Because by raising it up, he could have lost that thing right in the webbing. He has it. It stays in, maybe because of a little help from the ground, but it never came out. But when he held it up, that's where I thought the thing would flip out. So good job by Logan Morrison. Still learning the ropes as a left fielder.
And good work in the truck and on the cameras with our Fox Exmo. Here's Jason Worth. Worth, many thought would not be a Philly at this point in the season. Going into a free agent season, the Phillies trying to free up money to acquire another frontline starter. They have with Roy Oswalt, but with the injuries they've had, the injury to Victorino, the injury to Uggla, and now to Howard, many fans in Philadelphia thankful that Worth still is a Philly.
Yeah, he's really picked things up too, and I think a lot of that, the load of possibly being traded, is off his mind.
I think we saw that with Jorge Cantu and what that did to him for about 3 weeks before the trading deadline. And I think it started earlier for Worth just because of his contract status and his hopes for a long-term contract.
Good fastball there by Sean West, and if he moves that around in and out, he's throwing some good change-ups. A few breaking balls, he'll use that pitch as well.
Let's see what Worth gets here. Rollins, a leadoff double. He's still out at second. And he struck him out. Rollins was on the move. A good live fastball does the trick. How about that? Leadoff double? No problem. We have a little help from Logan Morrison. Scoreless ballgame. Marlins lineup looks this way. Hanley Ramirez in the top spot, leading it off. Logan Morrison behind him. Gabby Sanchez at first. Dan Uggla at second. Cody Ross is in center. Mike Stanton up in that sixth spot again with Ronnie Paulino hitting seventh. Hector Luna gets his first start as a Marlin. He hits eighth in front of Sean West. And here is Hanley. And here is Halliday. And a breaking ball for a strike at the knees. Tim Timmons is the home plate umpire. And Halliday's numbers, the record does not indicate how well he's pitched this year. Just look at the ERA and the opponent's average against and the walks. 20 walks. Hanley a chopper. Let's see if he can beat it out. Rollins, gloves, throws. Got him. Jimmy Rollins is a Gold Glover for a good reason.
Yeah, he is. We'll see some changes in that defense. Raul Ibanez in left, Jason Worth, Ben Francisco in the outfield, Polanco, and Cody Ransom is the first baseman. Jimmy Rollins, Wilson Valdez, and Carlos Ruiz is behind the plate. Cody Ransom's a 34-year-old. He's been around with a few organizations. But Jimmy, J-Roll as they like to call him, with a nice play. He knew he had to get rid of that in a hurry.
Well, Logan Morrison, in his first week in the big league, saw a lot of good pitching, but he didn't see Roy Halladay. And he takes a fastball for a strike, and it's 0-1. Halladay's the type of guy where you can outthink yourself, and a lot of times his first pitch is going to be right down the middle. And then he gives you something that slides away.
Little sinker was the first pitch. Then he gave Logan Morrison a changeup. And these are his 3 outings against the Fish. He's only given up 3 earned runs in 25 innings.
That's amazing. And he takes care of Logan Morrison.
And he works fast and he throws strikes.
It is an Email Tuesday. If you'd like to get a hold of us, askthemarlins@fox.com is one way to do it, or click on to foxsportsflorida.com and click on the Ask the Marlins, Ask the Announcers icon.
Generally, Roy Halladay's not a good guy to face on Email Tuesday.
Gabby stands in. There's that first pitch fastball for a strike.
So Logan Morrison, Hanley didn't see it. Hanley saw the breaking ball.
Gabby shoots one out at second base. Valdez whips it across in time. Roy Halladay takes care of the Marlins quite quickly. Double to Jimmy Rollins. Got a great catch in left field from Logan Morrison. Whereas Roy Halladay plowed right through 3 hitters. And here come the Phillies back up again. Ben Francisco, Carlos Ruiz, and Cody Ransom are the hitters for the Phillies.
Yeah, Halladay threw 7 pitches in that first inning.
Our first email of the night is a 2-part email. It's from Anthony. His first question: why hasn't Sean West pitched all year long? Misses outside.
Well, early on he had some injury issues, but in 10 starts in AAA, he pitched very well. 4-3, 3.21 ERA. When you're 6'8", every once in a while the back flares up, a little lower back issues.
3-1 pitch coming. It's a strike. Francisco doesn't like that low strike that Tim Timmons gave West. On Fox Tracks, let's take a look at it. It's a strike.
There it is.
I think sometimes you can benefit by pitching against a guy like Halladay, who's going to stretch the zone. As long as you're around the plate, the 3-2 coming. Fly ball left field. That ball's well hit. That ball's not coming back. Ben Francisco homers against Sean West. Only the 4th of the season for the young outfielder.
Well, it's one of those amazing things. You can't look at the Philly lineup and say, well, Howard's not in there, Utley's not in there. They have some quality guys. Francisco played some games against the Marlins in Philly at Citizens Bank. He's a very good major league hitter. He's probably an extra outfielder, but getting a chance and taking that breaking ball deep.
Carlos Ruiz takes one deep. That ball's a shot. That ball is gone. Back-to-back on consecutive pitches, Ben Francisco and Carlos Ruiz.
And you're not talking about guys with 15, 20 home runs. For Francisco, his fourth. For Ruiz, his fourth. And probably the highest up in the lineup Ruiz has ever hit, with all the absences that Charlie Manuel has.
So here is Cody Ransom. Ransom, a longtime pro. Pulls one on the ground. Luna on a knee. Fires it across short. And Gabby has to pick it out of the dirt. Super Saturday on the 7th after the Phillies come to Cardinals. That's a Saturday 7-10 matchup. The postgame show is Cirque Dream, sort of a Cirque du Soleil type show, following a fireworks spectacular. And that's a Marlins samba whistle. And by the way, Tommy, the samba whistle, you'll be happy to know that will be given out that night. Will be given to fans on their way out of the ballpark. You'll be given a certificate for that samba whistle on your way in, and on your way out, you get the whistle. Into right, Stanton has it fall in front. Charlie Manuel put it quite simply around the batting cage. He said, you know what? We don't have Howard, we don't have Victorino, we don't have Utley, but nobody is going to feel sorry for us. We just got to keep playing hard and go out and win some ball games.
Yeah, Charlie's been around. He knows other teams deal with the same thing. And the fact that they've been world champions and then National League champs last year, you're right. Nobody's going to feel sorry for the Phillies.
They are a 3-time defending National League East champions. And now Halliday, with one out, can help himself. Runner goes. Little bunt and run. West makes a dive. Did he get it? No. Runner's going to third. Gabby's throw on the money. That is a double play.
That is some good defense as well.
West thought he was going to get a double play on a catch and a throw to first. Instead, it turns into an out at first and then a throw and a tag at third. Wow. Fox Expo never lies.
Never lies.
And the home plate umpire, Tim Timmons, got it right. But West had the presence of mind to get up and throw to first base to get that initial out.
Great reactions by Sean West. Our checkers double play of the game. I don't think we've ever had one like this. 1-3, back to third base, 5 on a little aggressive, over-aggressive base running by the Phillies. But good reactions, good play by Sean West. Keep in mind, 6'8", he's had back issues, no problem there, and a strong throw by Gabby to get the out at third base. Nicely done.
Now the Marlins have to deal with Roy Halladay, who's been spotted a 2-run lead. Dan Uggla, Cody Ross, and Mike Stanton. Uggla, of course, a very productive road trip. Hit 5 home runs in the 7-game trip. Halladay gets a strike.
Yeah, you think about it. Daniel had 7 hits on the trip, and 5 of them were home runs.
Halladay trying to pick at the corner and misses. Uggla checks in at 275 with his 23 homers. That leads the Marlins. His 65 RBIs leads the Marlins. And the stat that often gets lost when talking about Uggla, his walks. 54 walks. That leads the ball club as well. His on-base percentage is .363. That's an area that he really has helped himself over the last couple of years in. 2-1 coming. We'll check swing. Halladay evens the count at 2-2. It seems funny not to be able to talk about Utley and Uggla in this series because Marlins, Phillies, you always get to talk about 2 of the most prolific second basemen in history. There's a drive by Uggla. That ball's deep. It's gone!
Did you say prolific?
How about his name is Dan Uggla? Oh, wow. Just a laser beam on a pitch that Halladay left out over the plate, and Uggla just guided it out.
14th home run allowed by Roy Halladay, and this ball just jumps. There's the swing, attacking. Look at how Dan stays on it. He doesn't take that upper half away from the ball, drives right at it. Fox Exmo finds it in the lower portion, but a bullet hit by Dan Uggla.
Cody Ross gets a first pitch breaking ball from Halladay. That's kind of been a tradition, the Brian Peterson hug. After an Uggla home run, we saw that a lot on the road trip. Now, it's not quite as, I guess, personal as the Brian Giles Padre hug, which was a famous greeting of his in the Padre clubhouse. Here's Cody Ross pulling it foul. It was more personal because Giles was usually without clothes in the Padre.
Please don't take this any further.
And of course, there was the Ameziga dance greeting, which
I like the Ameziga greeting to Miguel Cabrera.
That was always
fun. Yeah.
0-2.
Boy, I had to get off that subject quickly.
Well, we just came from San Diego, so I had to drop that in.
By the way, Dan Uggla now against Roy Halladay, 5 for 14 with 2 home runs.
Ross sitting on a 1-2 count. And Halladay bounces it outside. You know, before all heck broke loose with the back-to-back homers and the weird bunt double play, we had a 2-part email question. The other part of Anthony's question is, how long will Ryan Howard be out for? And the Phillies are saying right now at least 2 weeks. Obviously, he's on the 15-day disabled list, but they think he'll be back come those 15 days.
Well, yeah, they had to make that decision today. Talking to Charlie Manuel, you and I both chatted with him about that. Is it going to be a few days with the sprained ankle? If it's going to be longer, then you go ahead and put him on the disabled list, which is 14 days.
3-2 coming. Ross got a fastball. Francisco can't get it. And Ross still has life. Here's a look at the injury to Ryan Howard.
Well, he goes back to second base on a quick throw, and that left foot as he reaches for the bag, just rolls and turns. And a badly sprained ankle. And you know it's a badly sprained ankle to keep him out. The injury list just grows and grows. Howard, Moyer, Chase Utley, he's expected back maybe at the end of the month. And Victorino with an abdominal strain. Not to mention during the season, Ibanez has gone on the deal.
That was a late strike 3 call.
I think that's a Roy Halladay call. Now again, you said if it's that way for both pitchers, okay. See if this breaking ball finds the inside corner. It may well have. Remember the other 3-2 pitch, boy, just up top, it did find the strike zone. The other pitch was a fastball, and then with Cody hitting it foul, he came back with the breaking ball.
Mike Stanton's second game in the big leagues was against Roy Halladay. And he takes a first pitch fastball for a strike. Remember, Stanton got called up in Philadelphia. He is 0 for 3 against him. And the first base umpire, Bob Davidson, right now is screaming at the Marlins dugout.
Somebody in there is yelling. It could be Cody, probably at that last called strike. And Davidson, veteran umpire, is trying to keep everybody calm and keep everybody in the game.
Bob Davidson actually, while Halliday was coming to the plate, screamed no pitch. So I think the count is 0-1. I think Stanton lost the ball in that exchange. Here's the 1-1. It's out, or the 0-1. So I think the count now is 1-1.
I believe so. Yeah, it is. Hey, go back. You're still steamed. He's not really yelling at Bob Davidson. He's yelling at the home plate umpire, Tim Timmons.
That's, I think, what bothers managers the most, is if a player is directing his anger in one place, if a guy like Bob Davidson has got his head in the dugout in another place.
And somebody else chirps in, yeah.
And you can see Edwin is giving him the stink eye down at first base. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and it's inside. Now the scoreboard
hasn't made the correction.
All right, it is 2-2. Now it's correct. Halliday misses in. You know, if Bob Davidson doesn't walk into that pitch, Stanton's at first base.
Tried a couple of two-seamers in. See if he goes breaking ball.
Ground ball short. Rollins loads up and just got him. I think Jimmy Rollins, next time he gets a ground ball from Mike Stanton, might not be so deliberate.
Yeah, just enough on that fastball. He gets ground balls. He turned it over. 3 times 9 in July. 3 times in the month of July, Halliday went 9 innings. Sinks and outs. Perfecto versus Pescados. Perfecto against the fish.
Oh, now you're getting bilingual on us. You don't even wait for us to go to Cookie and Raul.
Well, we had time to work on that on the flight back from San Diego.
Polino fouls it back, and it counts 1-1. Of course, Ronnie Polino was the final out of Halliday's perfect game. 1 for 4 in his career against Halliday. This is start number 310 in Halliday's career. Ground ball third. Polanco flips it across in time. Marlins are done, but not before Dan Uggla goes deep and cuts the lead in half. That ball's deep!
ways to interact with us out here at the ballpark, guys. If you're at home watching, I'm here with David V, and we were actually just talking a little bit. A lot of firsts here tonight for the Marlins, and I know that's the subject of a few of the things you're discussing online with the fans.
That's right, Allison. Tonight is actually Logan Morrison's first game here at Sun Life Stadium. It's Sean West's first game in 2010 in the big leagues, and Hector Luna's first game since 2008 in the big leagues.
And I know that the Marlins players themselves get fired up to face the Phillies. Do the fans as well?
The fans are very fired up. This is a huge series for the Marlins. They're currently 7 games behind the division-leading Braves and 4 games behind the Phillies. So a good showing these 3 days could really help them out.
What are the thoughts here as we see Roy Halladay for the first time since he pitched a perfect game here?
Well, I know the fans in the chat are really impressed with Halladay's movement. Outside of that mistake to Uggla, he's been very impressive tonight.
All right, David, as always, thank you so much for your time. You can log on to foxsportsflorida.com if you want to chat with David V, or email us. Either way, I'd love to hear from you guys.
All right, thank you, Allison. Thank you, David. Raul Ibanez is coming up against Sean West. 2-1 Phillies here in the third. Every run is scored on a solo homer. Ben Francisco and Carlos Ruiz went back-to-back on consecutive pitches against West in the second. And the aforementioned Uggla home run against Halliday. And here is Ibanez.
Yeah, the other good thing, positive note to go along with Sean West. In his 20 starts last year, he pitched really well at home. He was 6-2 in his home games with an ERA at 3.29. So he likes pitching off this mound.
Ibanez is a hometown guy here. And Raul swings and misses. He struck out back in the first. Ibanez, Sunset High School, Dade Community College. And a long road before he finally got a chance to play every day in the big leagues. Coming up in Seattle's system.
Right now, Raul Ibanez, the veteran hitter, having trouble figuring out the young left-hander, Sean West. He's gotten him with an assortment of breaking balls. He stayed with that same breaking ball and kept it away.
All right, a couple of emails. Robert wants to know what the Marlins, what are the chances of the Marlins signing Dan Uggla to a multi-year contract?
You know what? We have no privy to any of this, but I would say good. My guess would be good.
The chatter that we've heard, the stuff that we've read, is that the Marlins and Dan Uggla are in the process or in starting a process of doing that very thing. So that's a great sign. And the Marlins better hurry before he hits 50 home runs. The way Uggla has been swinging it lately, he's got 6 homers now in his last 7+ games. 1-1 pitch is fouled back. Jack in Delray wants to know, how did Andre Dawson get his nickname the Hawk? We have conflicting stories here.
I think one of them was for his because of his prowess in chasing down fly balls, the Hawk.
And some feel it's because of that serious look that he always had. And I think I heard in one of his Hall of Fame speeches, whether it was the speech itself or the round table they do or all the interviews they do, Hawk said that was just concentration, what you saw on his face.
Yeah, I think some perceived it as a scowl, but it really wasn't. Serious concentration from the Hawk, always.
1-2 coming. Into center. Ross got a good break, makes a running catch in a 1-2-3 third for Sean West. out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network, AT&T. Rethink possible. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, Allison Williams, 2-1. Phillies on top, and a special guest appearance now by Hector Luna. And as A-Dub pointed out, his first Major League at-bat since he was a Blue Jay for just 2 games back in 2008. Tommy, this is a guy that even when he played in the big leagues has hit in the minor leagues. He had a knee sprain last year that really hampered his season in the Dodgers organization. When he came back, he hit .351 in AAA. Fouls that pitch off.
He was having a solid year this year, .294. Hit 16 home runs, 17 doubles. But you're right, in his 284 big league games, you see the career average, .270. So his assignment tonight, having not played in a while, is Roy Halladay. Third base is probably his best position. He can play all over the infield, but he was playing mostly third base in AAA.
So the irony was, his last Major League at-bat, Halladay was a teammate up in Toronto. Now he's facing him here. And he hit that sinker right off the ground to stay alive. It's 1-2. Steve in Palm Harbor, and this has to do with Luna playing in third base. Now that Cantu is traded, do you think that Chris Coughlin can play third base next year, even after he's been on the disabled list?
I think he's going to get the opportunity.
Ruiz holds on, and Luna goes down swinging. Inside the Marlins, Andre Dawson. It is coming up tonight. It debuts tonight, 10:30 in high definition. Oh, excuse me, Friday. I'm way ahead of myself. Interviews with his family, former teammates, friends, mentors, and fellow Hall of Famers as they recall highlights from his extensive career. Inside the Marlins, Andre Dawson, Hall of Fame. It premieres on Friday, Rich. Friday.
You were just going to TiVo it tonight, though. You're going to get the TiVo set up.
I got to hook that up.
Hey, Hawk told me a great story today. We talked about how he told us he wasn't sure how he was going to hold up when he got talking in his speech toward the end about his mother. And 2 funny things. Tony Gwynn told us in San Diego, he said, man, when Hawk started talking about his mother, I put my dark glasses on because Tony thought he was going to lose it because Tony's father had passed away quite some time ago. Hawk said one of the things that kind of kept him going without losing it was he could hear guys in the background going, here it goes. He's going to lose it now.
Yes.
Here it goes.
And there was another Hall of Famer he actually made a bet with. And I don't know if that Hall of Famer has paid the bet off because that one certain Hall of Famer bet him that he would lose it, and Hawk bet him that he wouldn't. Here is Hanley Ramirez. Finish the Chris Coughlin thought, because it's not that easy as just plugging him in at third.
No, he played there in college. The college is a whole different venue than up here in the major leagues. I think he's going to get the opportunity. If he comes back this year and is healthy, it's going to be a tough transition, real tough. To make the transition over the offseason, all through spring training, is a little different story. But we'll see. But he is going to get that opportunity.
Hanley swings and misses.
One thing that Dan Uggla did, he took care of the any perfect game or shutout notions that Halliday might have had.
Hanley very anxious to get into the month of August after a real struggle in the month of July. 0-2 coming. Drives that one down the right field line. Our Geico quote is from Hanley about his lackluster July. I just need some bloopers. I need some balls to go between people. I think like there are 18 people out there.
That's the feeling you get when you're slumping. You look out there, it looks like there are 2 guys at every position. Every hole is filled up.
Well, he opened August with a home run in San Diego. That was on Sunday against John Garland.
You're right, though, Rich, about July. Just 242, 1 home run, only 4 RBIs in the month of July.
Hanley lays off.
So much of it with Hanley, and I was talking to Tony Perez about that today, is that front leg. His tendency to get it up a little too high, then he drifts. So consistency with that leg kick. Good eye there, good take.
Yeah, you could see Ruiz snap the glove back trying to buy a strike for Halliday, and the count's 3-2. Hanley fouls it off. One emailer wants to know, do you think Hanley's slump is due to him being in the leadoff spot? And no, because he was slumping in the 3 spot. And Hanley was moved to the leadoff spot to help him get out of the slump, and because when Chris Coughlin got hurt, the Marlins really didn't have another solution as a leadoff hitter. And Halliday dusts him off. Roy Halladay has struck out 5. Marlins and Phillies matched up in a 2-1 ball game. Our AT&T trivia question. Let's flip the phone. Which team has been involved in the most perfect games in Major League history?
Well, your first thought is Tampa.
I was about to say the Rays.
Yeah.
Most perfect games. Which team has been involved?
They've had
on
2.
Either side.
Right, they've had 2.
Jason Worth hits a monstrous pop-up. Ross running in. Hanley ends up taking it. I think Cody, when he first started out, figured Hanley was going to take it. Hanley figured Cody was going to take it. They kind of met halfway in between.
Which always goes along to a thought process in this game. Don't assume. Go after it as if you think you're going to catch it. And right at the last minute, he hears Hanley calling him off. So good communication.
A strike to Ben Francisco. Francisco getting the start in right field. A sharp ground ball off the glove of Luna, and it trickles away from him. Francisco around first. And he'll hold there.
He hit a couple of balls hard.
Yeah, he homered. Francisco and Ruiz homered on back-to-back pitches against West in the second.
Tough play for Luna. Got a piece of it. And by getting a piece of it, he keeps Francisco from getting a double. If that ball gets by Hector Luna, Francisco has himself a 2-base hit.
Here comes Ruiz. Email from an unnamed source.
Always leery of those, Rich. The unnamed sources. I'm always leery of those.
Breaking ball misses down low. Just wanted to know if there's any chance the Marlins would put a claim in on Adam Dunn right now that he apparently has been put on waivers. It would give the Marlins a potent lineup that could propel them to the postseason. With an opening at third, the Marlins could put Gabby over at third and put Dunn at first.
And then your defense is really bad. I mean, that's just a simple answer. Not like pieces in a fantasy league. You can't just put Dunn is not a good first baseman, and Gabby hasn't played third all year. So that would just weaken your defense when you're trying to play solid defense to back up some pitching.
That was succinct, Tommy, and to the point. Here's the 1-1.
That's what Email Tuesday is all about.
And it's, I mean, the whole waiver claim thing is not as cut and dry as that. You can't just claim a guy and he becomes yours. A team will put, at times, their entire roster out on waivers, and if you claim someone, the team has really three options. You can pull the player back. You can call the team that claimed him and said, all right, let's work out a deal. I'll give you the guy you claimed. Give me player X, Y, and Z. Or if the guy's got an enormous contract and you just want to unload it, the team can say, he's all yours.
Yeah, you take his contract.
Drive to center. Ross got turned around once and turned around twice and lost the ball and picks it up. Francisco steaming to third. He'll hold there, and a very rare misplay by Cody Ross in center field.
I'll tell you what, I do not believe I've ever seen Cody misplay a ball that badly. He got turned around. He went back too far. He was just all over the place. There's the wrong turn. It's on the other side. And once he regroups, now the ball isn't as deep as he thought it was. I do not think I can ever remember seeing Cody Ross play a ball that badly.
You know, I immediately wrote E8 in my book, but it's going to be a double because he didn't touch it. But I think that's a ball that probably should be ruled an error.
The big at bat here for the Phillies.
Cody Ransom.
If you can get Ransom, you can walk Valdez with first base open if everything remains the same, and go after Roy Halladay. Cody Ransom's been with the Giants, the Astros, the Yankees.
Yeah, he's an experienced player, that's for sure. 34.
Primarily third base and first base. 181 minor league home runs. So he has spent a lot of time in the minors.
Came up in the Giants organization originally, and he popped him up. Hanley calls for it. And makes the catch. So there's the big out. Let's see if the Marlins do indeed walk Valdez and go after Halliday. Full season ticket plans for 2012 in the new Marlins ballpark are now available for new customers. Choose from a variety of premium seating areas and secure your seats in the new Marlins ballpark. Call the new Marlins ballpark sales headquarters, 1-877-411-2012. 1-877-411-2012. Set up your appointment today.
Well, as expected, Wilson Valdez will be put on intentionally, and John West will go after Roy Halladay. Valdez, because of all the injuries to various Phillies this year, has gotten a tremendous amount of playing time, and because of that, he's set career highs in games and hits, doubles, just about every offensive category.
So the walk is intentional, and here comes Halliday.
Seeing that shot of Edwin, you had an interesting story in talking to Charlie Manuel and his connection with Edwin Rodriguez.
Yeah, I talked to Charlie today before the ball game, and Charlie says, you know, when I saw in the news that they hired, and it's hard not to talk like Charlie talks when I tell the story. When they hired Edwin, he said, "Hey, I know that guy." Halliday hooks one off the glove of Luna, and that's going to drive home 2 runs. Roy Halliday.
Boy, a guy with just 7 hits and 61 at bats. You can't just flop a breaking ball up there and speed his bat up and give him a pitch like that to hit. You got to give him hard stuff, crowding. Here's just a slow breaking ball. It allows Halliday to get out in front, and he stung that ball past Hector Luna.
That's pretty unbelievable that the Marlins, that they would throw him that pitch,
that kind
in
of
that
a pitch.
situation. So Halliday gets a 2-run single, and the Marlins make a couple of mental mistakes in this inning. The ball in center field that dropped, and that pitch to Halliday.
Yeah, when in fact these are going to be earned runs. They very easily could be unearned runs.
Anyways, Charlie said, "Hey, I recognize that guy." And he went back and looked at his old scrapbook, and he said, "I managed that guy in Portland, Oregon." Charlie Manuel managed.
In the Coast League.
Edwin Rodriguez, it was a Twins AAA affiliate in the Coast League at that point. Charlie was just starting his managing career after a nice playing career in Japan. Gabby is over at the wall, makes the catch, but a messy 4th for the Marlins means 2 runs for that guy. By Checkers, little place, big taste. By Corona, kick back, relax with an ice cold Corona and lime. Enjoy a Corona today. And by TGI Fridays, celebrate summer with the new Caribbean menu only at TGI Fridays. 4-1, Phillies on top. You see the 7 hits. For the Marlins, a really rough top of the 4th. The ball that Cody Ross lost. And then Sean West making an awful pitch to Roy Halliday. So it's Logan Morrison, Gabby Sanchez, and then Dan Uggla. Marlins in a 3-run hole against one of the best as Halliday bounces one up there.
Yeah, just to get back to that pitch to Halliday, you have to put some of the onus on the catcher, Ronnie Paulino. If you call for that pitch, you have the pitcher up there. It's not like after you've just walked a batter to get to the pitcher. You still have to make good pitches. You can't just flip the ball up there and figure, well, the pitcher's going to make it out.
And there's the bat speed of a pitcher. You throw a breaking ball at 83, 84 miles an hour, all of a sudden that's right in a pitcher's bat speed.
And we've seen Sean West tonight throw 91, 92.
Halliday has come out and gone 3-0 on Logan Morrison.
Bottom line, if they had to do it all over again, I'm sure they'd think of a different pitch.
And that misses. Halliday a sideways glance in at Tim Timmons. All right, let's flip the phone. It's got to be a franchise that's been around a long time. One that's been involved in the most perfect games. You want to go? I'll go Yankees.
I'm going to stick with the Rays.
The Dodgers. Dodgers. 1 win and 3 losses. Gabby gets a fastball for a strike. We had a couple follow-up questions on Gabby Sanchez. Garrett in Jupiter. Since Gabby played the position in college, do you think he could eventually play third in the big leagues?
I think the feeling from the organization is no, but you can't rule it out. I mean, we said the same thing with Chris Cotlin. He played the position in college.
And neither were known as premium defenders when they played that position.
But right now, Gabby's done a terrific job at first.
Yeah, I think that the Marlins not only are happy with the year that Gabby's having at the plate, but I think they are thrilled with his progress defensively at first.
He'd like to get back on track offensively. Gabby had a rough road trip. He was just 3 for 30.
Halliday buries another breaking ball that counts 2-2.
Talked about Halliday and his ability to throw strikes. 17 out of his last 22 starts. He's walked 1 or fewer. 10 of 12 tonight in first pitch strikes.
And Gabby, who fell behind, has worked the count full now at 3-2. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get something straight from Halliday. Uggla, who homered back in the second, is on deck.
Even though it is a 4-1 game, a lot of pitchers would give you a fastball, but because he has such good command of other stuff, you're right, it's not a given.
Struck him out.
Well, that's at 1. He kind of starts off the plate, gets a little movement, might have caught the corner, but just a perfect pitch by Halliday.
Let's take a look on Fox Tracks.
Looks like a pretty good pitch. And a tough one. That's that movement that Halliday gets. You give up on it because you think it's going to be off the plate.
Uggla got an off-speed pitch, and with a nice easy swing, lined it over the wall in left field. Hits that one into left field. Dan is seeing the ball quite well right now against Roy Halladay. Now, Tommy, you said he had homered against him previously.
Yeah, he's got 6 career hits now against Halladay. Here's one on the rights in Philadelphia. They both look like fastballs, similar part in the plate. The one tonight was 93 miles an hour. He's now 6 for 15. That one just had good movement. You see Halliday throw a pitch like that, sometimes you get the feeling it was a breaking ball or off speed. But he's now 6 for 15, a 400 average, and 2 career home runs against Roy Halladay.
Now Cody. Fouls a fastball back. Ross called out on strikes in the second. Remember, was that big breaking ball. Cody didn't like the call. It showed up as a strike right on the very outer reaches of Fox Tracks.
You know Cody would like to get himself a big base hit here.
Pops it up. Down the line, Francisco makes the catch. Morrison tags on his way to third. And he gets there with Uggla still at first. And up comes Stanton.
Good job. Logan Morrison summed up that play, that fly ball. Saw Francisco making the catch and moving away from the play, so no chance for him to make any kind of a throw to third.
Stanton bounced out back in the second. He's 0 for 4 in his brief career against Halliday. He got a first pitch fastball his last time up.
And then we saw Halliday work him inside with a couple of fastballs that missed. Didn't get that first pitch fastball that time. Roy Halladay, 5 times in his career, has been in the top 5 in Cy Young voting. He won the Cy Young Award in 2003. And there's a good chance he'll be in that top 5 this year. A couple of curveballs from Halladay and a couple of good ones.
Morrison at third, Uggla's at first. And an 0-2 coming to Stanton. And I think Halliday kind of hesitated and then walks around the mound. And
I don't know if he's talking to himself or to Tim Timmons, a home plate umpire.
Here's a 1-2 in the dirt.
Just to show you, and you know, after JJ's start in San Diego on Sunday, you know, you hear people complaining of, oh, he had a bad start, all this stuff. Roy Halladay, as terrific a year as he's having, he's had 5 starts this year where he's given up 5 runs or more. 5 earned runs or more.
So he dials up 93 and strikes out Stanton. Marlins leave a couple. It's 4-1.
They're nearly mirror opposites. Their record at home, 21-8. On the road, just 8-20. Run differential, plus 54 at home, minus 52 on the road. You can see also they have 10 more home runs at home. I talked to manager Charlie Manuel about the discrepancy there. He said the big thing is they've lost some tough games on the road and they've lacked those big plays in road games. And because of that, they have lost their last 5 road series. In fact, they haven't won game 1 of a series since the last time they were here, May 29th, when Roy Halladay pitched that perfect game. Guys.
Yeah, Allison, it's really odd. I mean, they lose 2 of 3 in Washington, and that was coming off of an 8-game win streak at home. The win streak propelled the Phillies back up the ladder in the East, and they start play 3 games behind Atlanta tonight.
Well, they've won 9 of their last 11.
Placido Polanco is lined out, flied out.
I think a lot of credit. You certainly give Charlie Manuel some of that with the banged-up lineup that he has.
And if the Phillies can hold their ground for the next 2 or 3 weeks and stay within 3-4 games of the Braves, then it's like they'll acquire a bunch of. It's like acquiring an all-star team. It's like trading for 3 big guys. If they can get Utley back, if they can get Victorino back, if they can get Howard back.
You know, it's like acquiring Roy Oswalt. Oh, they did. That's another thing we haven't talked about, the acquisition of the top-notch right-hander who the Marlins will see in the 3rd game of this series.
West misses outside. AskTheMarlins@Fox.com is our email address. AskTheMarlins@Fox.com. We have a lot of trade deadline questions. The first is from Ray in North Miami. How come the Marlins didn't make more moves at the deadline?
You know, I think, first of all, you make a lot of moves. You deplete your minor league system if other teams want prospects. And I would say it's not because they didn't try. I'm sure there were other moves that were talked about, but there are a lot of teams that didn't make any. Will Ullman.
Will Ullman was the move for the Marlins. Rick Vandenhert going up to Baltimore.
And acquiring a couple of young pitching prospects for Jorge Cantu.
Ibanez on the move. Roller towards Uggla, and it goes right between his legs and into center field. Goodness. The Marlins have had an awful night.
Well, after playing so well on the road, they have not looked good at all tonight. Uggla thinking about the out at second. He's got Ibanez right there. He's going to pick it, flip to Hanley, but you got to catch the ball first. He did not. Ball stayed down. He was ready to pick and flip. And everybody's safe, and Ibanez goes to third.
And now West has to pitch out of this. But it's Worth, Francisco, and Ruiz who are coming up. In the 4th, with 1 out and a runner at first, Cody Ross lost a fly ball in center that landed next to him. It was ruled a double. Phillies turned that into 2 runs. Worth is struck out and flied out.
Interesting on this play, watch the second base umpire, Tim Cheetah. I don't think he got in the way, but it was just another body that Uggla had to deal with as he tried to pick that ball. But the whole key is he was trying to pick it and flip it to Hanley.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in that play. Now, I'm sure at some point, as the ball was on the move, Uggla also thought about getting to the ball, making the catch, tag, and throw as well.
Yeah, there were a lot of things going through his mind.
1-2. And he got him on a high fastball. That's the pitch. Those are the pitches you would have liked to have seen him throw to Roy Halladay.
Yeah, good live fastball. Well, the Marlins, with that error, by the way, are tied for last place with the Nationals. 83 errors on the season.
Here's Francisco. He's had 2 very good swings against West. Solo homer and a hard smash to left for a single.
The Phillies up near the top, about in the top 5. They've made 61 errors on the season.
Uggla makes the catch. And West gets the second out. Tommy, I think to finish that emailer's question about why the Marlins didn't make any more moves at the deadline, you have to, at first, I think, look and see where a franchise is. Not only in the standings, but also in the development of their players. The Marlins have 3 rookies in their lineup right now. Their top prospects are here right now. And so the system is a little bit depleted.
And they are probably guys other teams were interested in. Oh, yeah, we'll give you so-and-so if you send us Logan Morrison.
I'll bet you Matt Dominguez's name probably came up, the Marlins' third base prospect. And, of course, if you remember 2 years ago, when everyone was in a hue and cry about the Marlins not completing the Manny Ramirez trade, that's because sharp ground ball into left field, that's a base hit. Ruiz has done some damage tonight. And it's 5-1. The Dodgers wanted a young outfielder named Mike Stanton for
sure they did.
Manny Ramirez. And that's why the Marlins said no.
Yeah, Ruiz with his third base hit. Ruiz a triple away from the cycle. Has a single, a double, and a home run tonight.
The double, of course, was the fly ball that Cody Ross got all turned around on. So Ransom is up. He has bounced out and popped out.
Yeah, it's been an inconsistent start. We've seen some really good pitches at times from Sean West. If you remember his last time out when he started his major league career, first time out in the big leagues was last May. Remember, he had that terrific game against the Giants last year where he was more consistent.
He beat Randy Johnson.
Yeah, went 8 shutout innings against San Francisco. And we've seen some good changeups. We've seen a few good fastballs, but then we've seen a mixture of poor pitches as well.
Ransom now getting a lot more time with Ryan Howard going on the disabled list today, in case you haven't heard.
Ross Claude will get some time at first base. Greg Dobbs can play over there. Claude's had another nice year, filling in a little bit for Charlie Manuel this year. Of course, last year as a Marlin. Ross Claude has 12 pinch hits, 3 pinch hit home runs.
That liner is foul. You saw Charlie Manuel on the bench talking with Jimmy Rollins. Charlie Manuel, before he became a manager in Cleveland, was known as one of the best hitting coaches in baseball. He was Mike Hargrove's hitting coach with the Indians. Managed in the Cleveland system, developed a lot of their good hitters that helped the Indians on the run. Jim Thome,
the aforementioned Manny Ramirez.
Yes. A lot of those guys came through the minor leagues and got a lot of help from Charlie Manuel. High pop-up. Uggla's over. And Gabby takes it. So the Marlins make a big error, and the Phillies cash in with another run. to the Marlin games, you can live forward with Just for Men hair color. It is an email Tuesday night. We've got the laptop out.
I'm sending you an email.
This is my techno-savvy friend here. Before you get to that email, I've got a pressing one from Aventura. Max, who's all of 9. We know Dan Uggla is the all-time home run hitter in Marlins history, who is the Marlin leader in RBIs in team history. Ronnie Paulino swings and misses. It's a good question from Max.
I like that question.
Well, he broke Mike Lowell's record for home runs, so Lowell's got a pretty good shot at being atop that list.
Well, let me just put it this way. He's the guy, the Marlins all-time RBI leader. He's a guy who just has a few more than Jeff Conine, by the way.
That's a foul ball.
A guy who has not really had a whole lot of playing time this year. Tonight, he was put in the lineup, and he hit a 2-run homer his first time up for the Boston Red Sox. Mike Lowell.
Ground ball up the middle, backhanded by Valdez. And he throws Paulino out. Brings up Hector Luna. Cardinal series ends on a Sunday, a family Sunday on the 8th. And it's back to school day. First 5,000 kids get a Marlins catcher's book bag, courtesy of AT&T. Kids can run the bases in the Diamond Dash after the game. 1-877-MARLINS or go to marlins.com.
We could see in that series the latest Cardinals starter, Jake Westbrook.
High pop. Ransom is there and he makes the catch. And it looks like the end of the line for Sean West. Brian Peterson on deck. And Bert Batenhop in the bullpen. So West certainly didn't have the best of defense behind him. The misplay by Cody, the error by Uggla.
Yeah, it's a tough game to judge because it could have extended a little differently if for better defense behind Sean West. Gave up those back-to-back home runs in the second inning.
Peterson takes a strike. Joe in Cooper City wants to know, why does Uggla get an error and Cody does not, since neither player touched the ball?
I guess the old adage there is it went right between Dan Uggla's legs. And I agree. I agree with you, but the rule of thumb is in the outfield, if a ball drops, if a guy loses it in the twilight or the sun or misplays it, as Cody did, if it drops untouched, it's a base hit. But I think there is a time where a scorekeeper could easily say, in his judgment, that ball should be caught. That's a good question.
Peterson keeps hooking balls foul. It's 0-2. One of the cardinal rules of email Tuesday is never read an email with 2 outs and 2 strikes on a hitter.
And Roy Halladay pitching.
Yeah, it's so tempting, though, especially missing with a fastball like that.
If he misses with another one, go ahead.
Give it a shot. All right.
Doug always get to it next inning.
Doug at Homestead. Do you think Hanley's meltdown may be the result of overextending himself during the All-Star Home Run Derby? And I think Hanley was wobbling before the Home Run Derby, which was essentially mid-July, right?
Yes, he was.
See, look at that. We got the question and the answer in before Halliday finished off Peterson. Roy Halladay's on a roll right now with a 5-1 lead.
vía Zap y es presentado por KFC.
Back in South Florida tonight, Burke Badenhop comes out of the bullpen. He takes over for Sean West.
Hopper threw the ball pretty well, I thought, on the road trip. A little more consistent. So he'll come on to hopefully give Edwin a couple of innings.
This is a lot sooner than the Marlins wanted to get into their middle relief. West going 5 innings, 81 pitches. 5 runs, 4 of them earned, and 9 hits.
Makes it a little easier choice for Edwin Rodriguez to bring in Hopper, a right-hander, without Utley and Howard to deal with.
Without a doubt. That really changes the dynamics of pitching to this ball club.
And you always, if you're managing against the Phillies with those guys there, and even to a degree Victorino, you're always looking ahead. Okay, what inning are those guys coming up?
Yeah, and especially for the Marlins, as of late, it's been really hard to match up. Luna charging, makes a quick flip and a nice play to get Wilson Valdez.
I'll tell you what, Hector Luna, having not played since he came up, has had some difficult shots hit to him in this game tonight. A couple balls gotten by, a couple of base hits. This is not an easy try, and he made it look easy. Both hands, the pick, and then across his body with a real nice throw. Good play by Hector Luna.
Here is Halliday, and he had one of the biggest at-bats of this ball game back in the 4th inning against Sean West. West had that inning where Cody Ross lost the fly ball, put him in a jam. He got the second out and then intentionally walked Wilson Valdez to get to Halliday, and then flipped up a first pitch breaking ball, and Halliday hooked it down the line for a 2-run single.
Probably the biggest hit for the Phillies tonight. Of course, that 4th inning was set up by Cody's misplay in center field. First base was open. You walk Valdez, and there's that. You saw how he's reaching for it. He's way out in front and had time to get to that breaking ball. Didn't have time to get to that fastball by Hopper.
And there's a good example of what we were talking about. There's a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. That's not pitcher's bat speed. Jimmy Rollins coming up.
I saw where a former Philly pitcher, Brett Myers, was just locked into a 2-year extension by the Houston Astros. He's had a solid year for the Astros, who've not had a good year as a team.
That's not easy as a starting pitcher when everything else is falling around. Guys are getting traded right and left.
He's gone 8-6 with a nice 3.10 ERA.
Speaking of lefties, Carlos in Cutler Bay wants to know: the Giants signed Dontrelle Willis to a minor league deal last month. With the demand for lefties on a pitching staff, why didn't the Marlins go after him, considering Detroit is on the hook for his big contract?
Well, he's been let go a couple of times, and he just hadn't shown anybody that he can throw strikes consistently. And the last thing you want is to bring a guy out of the bullpen who can't throw strikes.
He was let go by Arizona after they signed him. The Giants have him in the minor leagues. 3-0 pitch is down low. Badenhop loses Rollins. And for the Marlins, Tommy, it's always been tough because a lot of times they go through a series against the Phillies with just one lefty in the bullpen. When you're a manager with one lefty against the Phillies, you have to pick the exact right spot to use that guy. You end up choosing among your right-handed guys that have some success against lefties.
Well, and I think that's why Jorge Sosa was expendable. He was the odd man out, with Sean West being activated to pitch this game tonight. So Will Ullman, he's that perfect lefty matchup guy. He's done it before. He knows the league.
And I'm sure when he got traded to the Marlins, he looked at the schedule and he said, oh, yeah, the Phillies are coming up. I'm going to be up every night.
Spent a number of years with the Cubs. Jimmy Rollins doesn't quite run with the same reckless abandon that he used to with the calf problems he's had a couple of times on the disabled list this year.
A little more strategic.
I mean, he has 9 steals, and he's 9 for 9.
Yeah, that's one of the numbers that for the Phillies, it's a little bit odd, you know, looking at their stolen base totals. Just 61 stolen bases coming into play tonight. And we're used to seeing the Phillies among the league leaders in stolen bases.
Yeah, you know, I saw a note, Rich, that this year leading the league in stolen base percentage. And they've also done that the last 3 years. They've led the major leagues in stolen base percentage each of the last 3 years.
81% last year. But a total of 119 bases stolen last year. They were second to the Mets. Of course, last year they had 224 homers, a Philadelphia Philly record.
The other thing about Rollins,
who was on the move at 2-2.
Once the count got 2-2, then he was deciding to take off. Earlier, with 2 out, he had Ibanez up there, and again, you think about this Philly team, it's completely different without Uggla and Howard coming up next. If he had gone early, first base is open, you could walk Ibanez because you've got Polanco and Worth, a couple of right-handers coming up.
Who Badenhop is better suited to get. 2-2.
Well, a little different with 2 strikes. Now it's 3-2. He'll certainly be gone.
There's Polanco. Rollins on the move. And Ibanez went out of the strike zone to foul it off. But the Phillies are still 57 and 48. And as we said, if they can just hang in there for the next couple of weeks, they'll be getting some quality bats back. They'll have Oswalt firmly ensconced in their rotation. Ground ball back to Badenhop. He is the king of the comebacker. Flips it on over to first. 5-1 Phillies.
or did it hit the ground? Freeze it. Well, it's in the webbing. Oh, boy, that's close. It appears that while in the glove, the ball kind of skims the ground, but it never came out of the glove. Frostbrew Coors Light freeze can. Morrison's on deck as Hanley Ramirez leads it off. The Marlins trying to put a dent in Roy Halladay's night. He hasn't been perfect, but he's been close.
You know, he has 8 strikeouts. He's walked just 1, and he's given up 2 hits, but they've both been to Dan Uggla, so no one else has touched him. And one of those by Uggs was a home run.
Ask the Marlins at Fox.com is our email address. Doreen in Palm Coast wants to know, when a player gets traded, what happens to his home and his belongings? Like Jorge Cantu, traded to Texas. He was on the road and then joined Texas on the road. He won't be able to go back to Florida to get his things like clothes and personal and household items. What does he do and how does he get his things?
Well, it's a whole lot different with a family. A lot of times you'll just have the help of clubhouse assistants. Some of the guys will help out, pack up your things, and get them shipped on to Texas. But with a family, certainly many major leaguers have young families. It's very disruptive. Usually your wife is the one who handles all that stuff.
But a lot of times players' families won't move. They'll end up staying in the city from which they've been traded. Kids are in school. Stuff like that.
So it's not easy as a player to get traded in the middle of the season. I mean, you've made a home in the team you're playing with in that city. Usually have an apartment. Now you have to try to get out of a lease. All kinds of things you have to deal with.
Did you ever have to try to get out of a lease?
Yeah, I had to do that in Toronto. I got traded. I had to join the Expos where they were, and my wife with a 6-month-old had to hang in Toronto, get out of the lease, get the place packed up, and get stuff sent back home to Florida because we weren't going to send it to Montreal. There were all kinds of things to do.
Was the landlord a Blue Jay or an Expo fan?
Well, I was in Toronto, so he was a Blue Jays fan.
Oh, well, that may have made
it was okay. It was okay. That was a pretty okay pitch, too, by Halliday. And he just continues to cruise.
Well, Jamie Moyer was the original Marlin killer on the staff of the Phillies. Moyer out with an elbow injury. Morrison rolls that one out to second. Well, Roy Halladay isn't chopped liver, and the Marlins certainly haven't touched him much at all this year. This is start number 4. Halladay's ERA coming in the 3 previous 1.08.
Yeah, we told you in the previous 3 starts, he had the perfect game. The other 2 starts, he went 8 innings. One of those he gave up 2 runs, and one he gave up 1 run. He lost the game he gave up 1 run. That was the revenge of Josh Johnson. JJ, the victim in the perfect game, came back a couple of starts later and beat Halladay in Philly. Halladay went 8 innings, gave up 6 hits and a run and lost.
Breaking ball called strike, and it's 0-2. The Marlins beat Halladay in Toronto last year.
Part of that is because they got him out of the game.
He got hurt. I don't remember if he was hurt by the line drive or if he was hurt going after a line drive.
I think it was a groin injury that took him out of the game. Yeah, he kind of pulled it. The 17-game winner last year for the Blue Jays.
12 years in Toronto, was 148 and 76. Gabby hooks that one into left field. So the Marlins have a non-Uggla hit.
Think about Halliday. He just doesn't give you a whole lot to swing at. His breaking ball, his curveball, he cuts his fastball, he sinks it. He ran one into Logan Morrison to get him to hit a weak ground ball to second. But a good swing there by Gabby to pick up a 2-out hit. Gabby has 3 hits in his young career against Halliday, 3 for 11.
Uggla takes inside.
There's a good fastball that he runs in. He's trying to figure out how to get Dan Uggla out though.
Uggla's 2 for 2. Singled in the 4th. The home run came back in the 2nd. That one dips low in our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast.
Number 24 on the year for Uggla.
That's the thing about Uggla, Tommy. When he hits his next home run, all of those records that have stacked up now, first second baseman to hit 20 or more homers in 5 seasons, all of those numbers change from 20 to 25 because Uggla's been over 25 every season except this one. So not only is he breaking these records that have been around for the longest time, but he's moving the bar a lot higher. See what he gets, 3-1. They challenged him, and Uggla sends it out to center field. Good pitch by Halliday. Really got in on his hands. That's why he is the master. 5-1. The 7th, this copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Placido Polanco, Jason Worth, and Ben Francisco. And Badenhop misses with a breaking ball. Next question, Ricardo in North Miami. Wanting to know, especially with the new stadium on the horizon, if the Marlins will change their MO. Instead of parting with guys like Miguel Cabrera, Josh Beckett, and Mike Lowell, will they sign Gabby, Mike Stanton, and Logan Morrison to long-term deals?
I would think, and this, again, we're not the ones who have the checkbook. I would think if those guys progress and show you that after a couple of years, they're going to be solid Major League players? I would expect, yes, that we could see them.
The reports are that we've read, Dan Uggla and possibly Ricky Nolasco are targets of just that right now. The Marlins, of course, already have Hanley Ramirez and Josh Johnson locked in. And with the new ballpark online in 2012, and this is the latest picture from down. Look at that. It's amazing. You can see the suites, the press box, the lower bowl all complete on the first base side. The roof tracks are done. They're starting to build the roof right now. The way the Marlins are set up, as they ramp up payroll-wise, it would only make sense that if in 2 years Gabby is hitting 290 and driving in 90 to 100 runs a season, that ball's over Hanley's head. If Stanton turns into what the Marlins hope he's going to be, if Logan Morrison lives up to his potential.
First of all, there's a period of time before a player goes to arbitration that you don't have to do that. You have control of that. You actually have control for 6 years for free agency, but 3 years up until arbitration. And you're not going to go nuts as far as salary on a player. So you have time to make that decision to see if that player is going to be a consistent player.
And you really need to take that time before you pull the trigger. I mean, just take this franchise, for example, and you look at a guy like a Logan Morrison, who comes up as a highly touted prospect. Well, he's had a decent start. You don't just throw a 5-6 year contract at him and say, you're my guy. I mean, all you have to do is think back at how heralded Jeremy Hermida was when he arrived here in South Florida.
He would have been one of those guys you go, well, left-handed bat, he's going to be around forever. He was just designated for assignment by the Red Sox, hitting a little over 200.
Now, sometimes you get a player like an Evan Longoria, who you see, you know what, you identify as the guy and you give him a long-term deal. Atlanta's a great example. They offered early long-term deals to two guys, Brian McCann and Jeff Francoeur. Almost the identical contracts. McCann signed his. Worth goes down on a nice breaking ball. McCann signed his deal, and that worked out for the Braves. Francoeur refused. He didn't sign it, and that worked out for the Braves.
Yeah, it did. And even in a case such as Mike Stanton, is he going to be a solid major leaguer? We sure all think so, just from what we've seen. But still, 61 strikeouts, 18 walks, hitting in the 230s. You want to see a little more consistency. You want to see how he develops. And he's going to develop, because everybody you talk, I couldn't believe how much Tony Gwynn was talking about Mike Stanton when we were in San Diego.
When we were in Los Angeles, it was Dave Winfield that couldn't stop talking about Stanton. And the funny thing that both Gwynn and Winfield commented on is the fact that Stanton played multiple sports. Gwynn was a standout point guard at San Diego State. Winfield, of course, was drafted in 3 sports.
All 3 sports.
And Winfield said, I'll take the guy that plays multiple sports because the skills in those sports translate to baseball. And I know in this age of specialization, kids that are 10, 11, 12 are playing on travel teams and club teams and playing 100 games a year. But for a guy like Mike Stanton, he didn't do that. He didn't play travel ball in the summer. He didn't play on those AAU teams. When it was football season, he played football. When it was basketball, he played basketball. And then baseball in the summer. Safe at first.
And another shot in tough play for Hector Luna. It's been amazing. Tell you what, Ben Francisco has hit the ball hard all night. A couple of base hits. He lined out in the 5th inning, hit that ball pretty well.
Well, Luna got a glove on it, but with the degree of difficulty, a base hit for Francisco, so he's got 3 hits. So I guess that was the long answer on that question.
That was the longest
Ricardo.
answer I think we've ever had on an email.
I think right now the Marlins are worried about guys like Uggla and Ricky. And then in a year or two, if the Stantons and the Gabbies and the Lomos get to that point, then you look at that.
And certainly track records for Ricky Nolasco and Dan Uggla.
Paulino throws behind the runner. Jesse in North Miami thinks that Sean West had a decent game. He left some pitches out over the plate. Do you think he will start again?
Oh, I'm sure he'll get a start again. No question.
Luna's thinking to himself, man, every ball is either to my right or one I have to really charge.
By the way, just a young starter, just to show you the depth the Tampa Bay Rays have. They brought up a youngster, Jeremy Hellickson, to start, and with him knowing he was going to be sent back after he pitched the game, and he beat the Twins 4-2. He went 7 innings and gave up 3 hits and 2 runs in his major league debut. And the reason they did that was to give all the other starters an extra day's rest.
Ground ball. Uggla gets through him. Got the out.
Boy, this is Dan Uggla's revisiting his All-Star appearance a couple of years ago. He's not going to be charged with an error there, but it should be. It is a double play. The Marlins had a sure double play. He's just not concentrating. He at least is able to scramble and get the out, but the other 2 runners move up.
Ross Glode's going to come off the bench, and he's going to pinch hit for Cody Ransom. So Charlie Manuel likes this matchup with Badenhop out there.
When you're a manager and you don't see, and there really is no reason in a 5-1 game to get Will Ullman or Tankersley up, but when you see there's nobody in the bullpen, you can get that matchup you want, but the Marlins are just going to walk Glode and go after the right-handed bat of Valdez.
19,378 the attendance tonight. Back to the email bag. Zach in Erie, Pennsylvania is watching tonight. Philly fan. He's only been down to Florida to watch the Phils in Clearwater for spring training. Never had a chance to see a game in the Marlins ballpark. Was curious as to which National League East team the Marlins consider their biggest rivals.
I think in some years it's been the Phillies. I think in some years it's been the Mets. Certainly with the way the Marlins took care of the Mets a couple of years at the end of the season, and you go back a little further, it was the Atlanta Braves.
That was back late 90s, right?
Yeah, I think especially after the Marlins took care of the Braves in '97 in the championship series.
Do you think because the Marlins are such a young franchise? 1-0 pitch, ground ball. Hanley dives, has no play. And so the missed opportunity for a double play on the boot by Uggla cost the Marlins a run, and it's an earned run because no error was given.
Yeah, it's been a missed opportunity evening. The Phillies capitalized on Cody Ross's misplay. They capitalized here. So each time the Marlins have walked a batter intentionally, the next batter has gotten a base hit. A big one.
Hopper picks it up, flips to Paulino, and gets Halliday out. But the Phillies add to their lead. A tough night with the glove for Dan Uggla. Not a good night to have an off night defensively when you're facing Roy Halladay, when runs are so precious. A cast that includes Tommy Hutton, Allison Williams, and Jeff Conine. Rich Waltz with you, 6-1, Phillies on top. And the bottom of the 7th rolls around, and Halladay still out there.
And Ross Glode stays in the game. He'll be at first base. I guess you could sum it up, Rich, and just say the doc and mistakes. That's the short version of this game. There's a former Marlin.
Cody Ross swings and misses. Halladay looking for his 3rd win of the season against the Marlins. One wild card team is getting beat tonight early in Pittsburgh. As Ross sprays one into right field for a base hit. Pittsburgh is beating up Cincinnati 6-0.
The Padres continued to roll last night. They beat the Dodgers 10-5. Venable, Headley did home runs. There's Chad Durbin. I was looking up at the number of pitches for Doc Halladay, and we were wondering how long he was going to last. He's closing in on 100. You would expect if he gets through this inning, this might be it for him. He may not want to come out.
I was just about to say, he's not the type of guy that, even with a 5-run lead this late, wants to come out. It's one of the things Josh Johnson said that he's learned in just watching Halladay pitch, and especially this year. He said he just has that aura about him that he's out there to pitch the whole night, that he's out there with the goal of completing the game.
16 of his 22 starts, he's gone 7 innings or more. 8 complete games this year for Halladay.
That's amazing. Ball and a strike to Stanton, who has bounced out and struck out. Mets and Braves are tied 2-2 in the 7th. The Mets have just tied that game. It's in Atlanta. The Brewers are beating the Cubs 2-1 in the 3rd. The Cardinals are getting smacked down by Houston 6-1. And that's in the 4th inning.
Houston beat the Cardinals last night. about the Brewers last night in Chicago? Had 26 hits against the Cubs.
I think they batted around twice. Stanton hits a laser into center field, the base hit. Cody stops at second. The Marlins have something going here in the 7th against Halliday.
Most of the balls that Mike Stanton hits seem to be lasers. Yeah, Prince Fielder and Ryan Braun each had 5 hits. Corey Hart had 4 in that 18-1 win at Wrigley last night for Milwaukee.
Paulino twice has bounced out. Halliday drops in a breaking ball for a strike. Billy in Riviera Beach notes that we talked about Jamie Moyer being on the all-time Marlin killer list, and then Halliday with a few more starts might work his way on there. He said, what about the all-time Marlin helpers, guys that have struggled in their career against the Marlins, guys that the Marlins own as far as starting pitchers, or guys that as hitters have struggled mightily against them?
That would take a little research from our crack staff.
Paulino with a high chopper. Rollins got one. It's a nice turn by Valdez. And Halliday takes care of 2.
Well, the Phillies have played a solid defensive game behind Halliday. He gets that sinker. Ronnie pounds it into the ground, and Jimmy Rollins has a nice turn. Got it over to Valdez, and 2 quick outs.
Oh, and 1 to Luna. Hector sends this one to right. Francisco settles under it and makes the catch. Couple of base hits to open the 7th, but nothing against the Doc. In the 8th inning. All-you-can-eat seats are back Friday against the St. Louis Cardinals. All the hot dogs, all the peanuts, popcorn, nachos, and soda. You can eat. Just call 305-626-SAVE. 305-626-SAVE for the all-you-can-eat seats for Friday night's matchup against the St. Louis Cardinals. Wes Helms in the ball game. And for Helms, he's going to be in the 9 spot. Brian Sanchez comes in as well as part of that double switch. St. Louis a half game behind Cincinnati as things started in the Central. The San Francisco Giants continue to lead the wild card, and they're 2 back of San Diego in the West. Jimmy Rollins, Raul Ibanez, and Placido Polanco against Brian Sanchez. The irony tonight is that the guy best suited to come in and suck up 2 or 3 innings from the pen is the guy the Marlins took off the roster to bring West on, and that was Jorge Sosa. Sosa was designated for assignment.
Well, you remember in that ball game, that wild game in San Francisco, Sosa came in after the start of Alex Sanabria, just went 2+ innings, and Sosa gave Edwin 4 innings.
Here is Ibanez. Gary from Annapolis. Has an email for Tommy Hutton.
I better listen.
You're contractually obligated. Favorite memory of the Phillies when you played for them?
Team-wise, getting a chance in 76 and 77 to get to postseason.
You run into the Dodgers both years?
No, unfortunately, 76, the big red machine. And right. Tony Perez.
77?
That was a quick 3 and out. That was a 5-game series back then. 77 was the Dodgers. And, of course, the Dodgers went on and won. Individually, just some great memories of some good games. A good series in Los Angeles one time, returning home from the play against hometown crowd and against the team that I had originally signed with.
Now, the year you guys lost 100 and something games, and Steve Carlton was...
Well, the only reason the Phillies didn't lose 100 that year, there were some rainouts involved.
Oh, what was it, 90?
They only won 59, but they lost like 98 or 99.
So the rainout saved you.
That was unbelievably memorable, and to me, to this day, still the greatest performance ever by a pitcher because the team was so bad, and he won 27 games.
How did he do it?
He pitched every 4 days. He was. It was like that. The team played a little better, and he had 30 complete games. I mean, he was in control. He didn't give up too much, and it was like that was the only chance. You felt that was your chance to win a game because we were so bad that was a good opportunity with lefty on the mound. Okay, this is a chance to win this one. The amazing thing, he lost 10.
That is amazing. Full count. Sanchez pitching to Ibanez. Wow. Sanchez kind of turned around and grimaced at that one. Fox tracks that one.
Usually when you think they're low, they're not. I guarantee this is a strike.
Yep, it is. So Ibanez has walked. Here is Polanco. We've had a lot of emails from fans wanting to know that the trading deadline has come and gone. How are teams able to make trades after the so-called trading deadline? It's the non-waiver trade deadline. But you don't hear the non-waiver part used all that often. Uggla ventures out with Hanley, and Hanley makes the catch. after the non-waiver trade deadline, you can still make trades, but players have to clear waivers. That means if you wanted to trade, let's say you wanted to trade Jason Worth, who's coming up to the plate, or Adam Dunn's a better example.
Adam Dunn and Manny Ramirez seem to be the names that are out there in this next round.
Rumors are that they've been actually placed on waivers. And what has to happen is a player must clear waivers before he's able to be traded. And teams are able to claim the players by the reverse order in the standings.
And sometimes a team will do that, will claim a player to block another team from getting that player.
Worth nearly came out of his shoes there. And as we talked about earlier in the telecast, it becomes a pretty high-stakes game of poker between general managers if there's a guy that has not only a big contract this year, but another year left on that contract, that you have no runner goes, and it's fouled back, and you have no plans to pay that guy next year, but you want to block him from a rival, a team that you're competing in the wild card or the division. Tankersley down in the Marlins bullpen. Fastball misses up. If I'm not mistaken, last year the Blue Jays, trying to get out from under the contract of outfielder Alex Rios, put him on.
And the White Sox claimed him, and I'm not so sure they claimed him thinking they were going to get him. They got him, took over a huge contract, but he's turned it around. He's had a terrific year this year.
I think Kenny Williams and the White Sox took a little bit of a gamble, and it's paid off. You're right. Sanchez strikes out Worth. Jason Worth, a long night. 4 strikeouts, and his team's up 6-1. They continue to lead the National League in hitting. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton on an email Tuesday night. Ask the Marlins at Fox.com if you want to get a hold of us. Marlins won't see Roy Halladay anymore right now, Tommy, but they're going to see him again. The Phillies and the Marlins meet up for a couple of September series.
Well, you just know that the Marlins are going to see Halladay again. We mentioned earlier they're going to see Roy Oswalt in this series, and a good chance to see Oswalt a time or two.
Adam Wainwright on Friday night, I suspect, for the Cardinals when that series starts.
Yeah, and I mentioned Jake Westbrook, their newest pitcher. He pitched last night, so he could go Saturday.
Marlins have seen a good string of quality pitching, but this homestand, they're going to see some great arms.
Chad Durbin's been one of those nice, serviceable bullpen guys.
And he's wearing Hanes underwear, Tommy. He's in the Hanes comfort zone.
It's always comfortable out there.
Wes Helms rolls it out to second, and Valdez throws him out.
I think we just had an email come in. Mike from Coral Springs wants to know how you know Durbin has Hanes.
Well, it's part of the promotion. Whenever Durbin comes in, we read the Hanes promo. I think he got that from Charlie Sheen. Hanley pounds one into the ground. Rollins loads up and fires across. 2 outs. Andrew is in Baltimore tonight. What separates guys like Roy Halladay and Cliff Lee from the rest of mere mortals, major league pitchers, that makes them or allows them to go deep into almost every game they're in?
That's a great question, and I think to answer that, you would have to say command. They don't walk many. At last check, Cliff Lee had walked 7 guys all year. Roy Halladay doesn't walk many people. Came into this game, he had 20 walks in over 170 innings. So you put that out there. No walks. They have command. They have command of more than one pitch. Halladay has command of a 2-seamer, the sinker, the breaking ball, some changeups. And the same with Cliff Lee. Command of more than one pitch.
And they're not afraid of contact.
No, they get contact. They'll take some ground ball outs, and that keeps them in games a little bit deeper.
Logan Morrison behind the count 1-2.
You know, it sounds like a simple formula. But as we all know, in watching games night after night, it's not all that easy.
Durbin misses up. Anibal Sanchez for the Marlins tomorrow night. Kyle Kendrick gets the start. Of course, in acquiring Roy Oswalt, Jay Happ is now a Houston Astro.
Pitched a good game the other night. His first appearance as an Astro. 6 innings, I think, gave up 2 hits, no runs.
The Phillies have lost 2 of their lefty starters. Moyer to an elbow injury. Happ now gone. They still have Cole Hamels.
So the one promise for Philly fans, if they can get to postseason, is that they can start a postseason series. That's a nice swing there.
And a drive that's going to go all the way to the wall. Morrison chugging towards second. Lomo will hold right there. With his ball club down by 5 runs, there's no need to get thrown out in third with 2 outs.
Yeah, the bonus for Philly fans is that you go into a postseason series and you can go after a team with Halliday, Hamels, and Oswalt. That's 3 pretty good pitchers. And y'all remember the postseason Cole Hamels had a couple of years ago.
Well, the Marlins got just 1 run off of Halliday. They're working against Durbin here. Gabby's 1 for 3. What have you seen in Gabby's swing over the last 2 or 3 weeks when he appears to have cooled down a bit?
You know, he has such a short, compact swing. It's not a swing that gives away a lot of flaws. Sometimes in his case, it's selection. He's hit a few balls hard. He's been maybe jumping a little bit. He's rolled over on a few balls because when Gabby's hitting well, he hits a lot of balls the other way.
That being said, he is 1 for 3 in this one.
That ball just got in on him a little bit. But it looks like he's clearly trying to stay back and thinking the other way.
I cannot read this email with 2 strikes and 2 outs. Actually, I can. Crack staff, get ready. This is Art in Miami. Looking for a glimmer of hope. Crack staff. Has a team ever led the league in errors and gotten to the postseason? Still holding on. Art in Miami.
This will give our crack staff time. This break.
That was well timed. Fish, good dancing there. Jose Veras out of the Marlin bullpen. Phillies have accomplished a couple things, Tommy. They got a nice start from Halliday, and they forced the Marlins to use Badenhop, Brian Sanchez, and now Jose Veras in Game 1 of this series.
Well, and also in the Halliday starts, he usually helps out their bullpen. Their bullpen has not been the best of bullpens this year. They've had some issues down there, and still trying to get Brad Lidge on track.
How's Crack staff doing over there? They're crunching the numbers right now. Did they come up with any names for the Fish Lover team? Guys that the Fish love to face?
Well, we had a couple. We had Jason Worth, who's really struggled this year against the Marlins. These are this season numbers. Nate McLouth, but he's not the huge, the name we're quite looking for. Nate McLouth is 0 for 15, but he was sent down by the Braves.
Thanks to his performance against the Marlins.
Pudge is only hitting .095 against the Marlins this year.
There's got to be some pitchers that the Marlins. I mean, didn't the Marlins have good numbers against Brett Myers when he was a Philly?
Mm-hmm. Decent numbers against Roy Oswalt. I think 5-4, something like that.
But not Oswalt numbers against Cincinnati, like, right?
No.
Hasn't he lost just 3 games, including 2 this year, to the Reds in his career? He's I think, over 20 wins against them. Big breaking ball. Man, that is strike 3. Which one of the bets? Pelfrey or Maine? One of the two the Marlins have.
They've had much better success against Pelfrey. Maine has been some good games against the Marlins.
Here's Ruiz, who has 3 hits. He needs a triple for the cycle. And unless Cody falls over, that's going to be a single.
A big night for the guy they called Chooch.
Come to think of it,
Phillies clubhouse.
Come to think of it, Cody almost did fall over on his fly ball in the 4th that became a double. Our South Florida forward spotlight of the game is on Carlos Ruiz. I mean, he's got this is as high as we've ever seen him hit in the Phillies order. 6th, and it feels odd to even write his name in the 6th spot in the Phillies lineup.
I'm sure it felt more odd for Charlie Manuel.
But Ruiz is having one of his best years at the plate. He's closing in on 290. An invaluable member of the Phillies, an unsung hero. Ross Glode's second at bat. He was intentionally walked in his first. Glode hammers that one foul. See, now if this were a 16-1 game, we might be looking at Ross Glode down there, not Ryan Madsen.
We could be looking at Ross Glode matching up against Cody Ross. And one thing we learned about Ross Glode last year, don't leave a fastball down. He can rake a low fastball. A little better chance up there.
Glode has replaced Matt Stairs as one of the go-to guys off the bench as far as pinch hitters, but Glode at this point in his career able to play multiple positions, a little more versatile, and right now a little more pop than Stairs.
Good pitch by Jose Veras to drop that breaking ball, just catch the outer part of the plate.
Good job. Here comes Valdez. Email from John and the Palmer family. Wanted to congratulate Andre Dawson and his family, and looking forward to the Hall of Fame luncheon on Friday.
Ah, wonderful. Come on up and say hi.
Which is
going to be there.
Which is now sold out.
Terrific. So I hope the Palmer family comes up and says hello.
The Four Seasons Hotel, I think 11:30 start. Tommy will be throwing out the ceremonial first bun, so to speak.
No buns before noon.
Wilson Valdez up. Phillies in control in this one. Marlins had opportunities against Roy Halladay, didn't cash in, and then some sloppy defense helped the Phillies to an early 6-1 lead.
Yeah, I think the sloppiness of this game, and you can't do that against a quality team like the Phillies, especially when they have their ace on the mound.
It was a 2-1 game after Uggla homered. That's all the offense for the Fish. Liner to Hanley. And the Marlins down to their final 3 outs. Their last swings coming up. 6-1. 6-1 Phils. JM Lexus presents Leaders of the Game. Most home runs by a middle infielder since 2006. Dan Uggla topped the list. JM Lexus price made us #1, 18 years running. Click jmlexus.com. You got 4 of those leaders on these 2 teams, with Uggla and Utley, and then Hanley and Rollins.
And we'll be seeing Brandon Phillips pretty soon. Next road trip, Marlins go to Washington, Cincinnati. We'll see Phillips there, and then 4 games in Pittsburgh.
Last call for emails. Jorge sent one about an hour ago wanting to, and we've had, every time Uggla hits a home run, we always, on an email night, get these. Daniel rips it in the left field, a base hit. People want to know about the home run call, and his name is Dan Uggla. It's a story that we've told many times, but we understand there's a few listeners that and viewers that pop in on occasion that haven't heard the story. Uggla, of course, a Rule 5 draft pick from Arizona. No one had ever heard of him or ever heard of his name when he arrived with the Marlins. In fact, through the first month and a half, everywhere he went, his name was mispronounced. Uggla. Ross messes up. So Tommy and I spent a good part of April and early May telling everybody, no, his name is Dan Uggla. And so Uggla ends up having such a terrific first half. He ends up in the All-Star game. And, I mean, PA announcers, other broadcasters, writers, we had to tell him, no, his name is Dan Uggla. And so one time he hits a big home run, and it just flew out of my mouth. His name is Dan Uggla. Next time he did it, Tommy looked at me and said, and his name is? And I said, Dan Uggla. And ever since then, it has to be a significant homer. I mean, Marlins down 9-0. Uggla hits a bomb. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I think we have been selective in our choice. I think it even goes back to the introduction dinner that
absolutely
you and I hosted, and
Uggla himself had that ball pops out of the glove of Ruiz. Is it a foul ball?
I think a foul ball.
I think the backswing of Cody's bat may have knocked it out of Ruiz's glove.
Yeah, we were given bios of, and that was the year. That was that 06, and there was all kinds of new players, and we had all these bios of players we didn't recognize.
And the bios came from Major League Baseball, and you're right. We're introducing 25 guys, 20 of whom we've never met because spring training hadn't started, never seen. So I was the guy that drew Uggla. And under Uggla's name, it was listed as Nick, and it had the pronunciation spelled out, Uggla. I was like, hey, everybody, meet Nick Uggla. And so Uggla just happened to be in the big leagues. He walks by the podium, and he looks at me and says, the name is Dan Uggla. But it wasn't until that month and a half into the season where Uggla was earning respect but not getting his name pronounced correctly.
Now I think everyone has it.
All right. So there you go. Stanton pulls that foul. All right. Who was the... let's find the email from the listener that the viewer that wanted to hang in there. It was Art in Miami. In 1995, the Red Sox and the Dodgers both led their respective leagues in errors and made the postseason. That season started a month late after the strike. So 95, the Red Sox and Dodgers both led their league in errors and made the postseason. That's from Stats. Maybe our buddy Aaron Charlton on the other end. Kenny Lee, the intermediary. And Scott Hopkins delivered the message. All members of the crack staff. So after Uggla's base hit, strikeouts to Cody and Stanton, and here's Paulino.
When are we getting the T-shirts made? The crack staff T-shirts. I was told by the crack staff, but when we buy them for them, they'll get them.
Hey, you know, the crack staff needs a little something every now and then. Two and one to Paulino. Marlins down to their last out here in the ninth. That one fouled back. Quick email from Lisa. How's Cameron Maven's shoulder holding up since he left Jupiter last week? Is that a concern the team has?
I think just, I don't know how much of a concern, but just the little injury bug that has followed Cameron around. He's had a few little nagging injuries. He's a young guy, a young player. You want to see him healthy and keep him on the field.
And as well, and we've talked about it with Cody Ross's situation headed towards next year. The Marlins don't know yet if Cameron Maven can play center field every day in the big leagues. They think he can, and they hope he can. Paulino ropes that one all the way to the wall. Uggla races towards third, and Paulino chugs into second with a double. So 17 doubles now for Ronnie. And Ronnie will be followed by Donnie. Donnie Murphy. This is the pitcher spot in the order. And the Phillies get their first look at Donnie Murphy this year. Murphy's been outstanding as a pinch hitter, and of course had the two walk-off hits on the last homestand. A walk-off home run off Houston Street. Ball in the dirt. Murphy now 4 for 9, 6 RBIs, and he has 2 pinch hit homers. A 3-run homer in San Francisco.
So he has been the most productive Marlins pinch hitter in a brief time.
Murphy didn't like the call. Here's the pitch. It's a borderline strike.
Of course, that was a pitch that was not called Sunday in San Diego. A borderline pitch.
Wes Helms is on deck. A couple runners in scoring position. 2-2 coming. Murphy hits a pop-up foul and out of play. Well, I think we've hit the bottom of the email bag at this point. Brian in Fort Lauderdale wants to know if the Marlins are going to have new uniforms in the new ballpark. And that would be an affirmative.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about that. We're not privy to what the design or color will be, but they will be different, and they will be new.
Murphy checks his swing. Didn't go. Two coming. Got him. Down goes Murphy. Durbin finishes with 2 scoreless innings of relief, though the Marlins get 3 hits against him. This night belonged to Roy Halladay. Charlie Manuel and the Phillies are banged up, missing a lot of big names. No worries, their ace started and gave them a great start. Roy Halladay wins it. Sean West, the loser. And Marlins Live is coming up.